Welcome, dear listener. Settle in. Find your most comfortable space. Perhaps you're nestled beneath a soft blanket, the day's demands gently fading into the periphery. Or maybe you're simply seeking a quiet moment, a tranquil pause in the ceaseless rhythm of life. Whatever your intention, whatever your current state, you are welcome here. This is Gentle Economics, and tonight, or perhaps this morning, or even this afternoon, depending on where the world finds you, we embark on another quiet journey, a journey not of bustling markets or high-stakes negotiations, but of the subtle, often unseen currents that shape our modern world. A journey designed not to excite, but to soothe, to inform, yes, but primarily to relax. There is no need to stay awake for the entirety of our exploration. Indeed, if your eyelids grow heavy, if your thoughts begin to drift like dandelion seeds on a summer breeze, then our purpose is being beautifully served. This is, in essence, a sleep documentary, a lullaby woven from the threads of commerce and human endeavor. Allow the words to wash over you, like the gentle lapping of water on a distant shore. Let the concepts unfold at their own unhurried pace, much like the slow, deliberate unfurling of a fern frond in the quiet forest. Tonight, we turn our gaze towards a fascinating, yet often overlooked corner of our economic landscape. A realm of quiet contemplation, of held possessions, and of the silent stories they tell. We will explore the self-storage industry. Imagine for a moment a vast, quiet landscape. Not a landscape of rolling hills or towering mountains, but one constructed by human hands. A landscape of steel and concrete, of corrugated metal and sturdy locks. A landscape where countless individual narratives are paused, held in stasis, awaiting their next chapter. This is the world of self-storage, a world that, at first glance, might seem mundane, perhaps even a little sterile. But beneath its unassuming exterior lies a rich tapestry of human experience, of economic ingenuity, and of the quiet, persistent need to create space. Think of the objects themselves, each one a whisper of a memory, a tangible link to a past event, a future aspiration, or simply a present convenience. The antique rocking chair, passed down through generations, awaiting its place in a new home. The boxes of cherished photographs, carefully labeled, preserving moments in time. The seasonal decorations, patiently dormant for 11 months of the year, ready to burst forth with festive cheer. The tools of a hobby, temporarily set aside, awaiting the next burst of creative energy. The accumulated treasures of a life, carefully packed away during a transition, a downsizing, a new beginning. Each self-storage unit is a miniature vault of personal history, a silent repository of human endeavors. And the industry that facilitates this, it is a testament to our enduring relationship with our belongings, to our need for flexibility, and to the quiet evolution of our living spaces. We will journey through the gentle history of this industry, tracing its origins from humble beginnings to its current, expansive presence. We will consider the subtle economic forces that have propelled its growth, the quiet demands of a society that is increasingly mobile, increasingly urban, and increasingly acquisitive. We will look at the architecture of these spaces, the thoughtful design that prioritizes security, accessibility, and a certain reassuring anonymity. As we delve into these quiet details, allow your mind to wander. There is no need to retain every fact, every figure. Simply absorb the atmosphere. Let the gentle rhythm of the narrative guide you towards a state of deep relaxation. Imagine the muted colors of the storage facility corridors, the soft echo of a distant door closing, the feeling of quiet order. Perhaps, as we speak of these spaces, you might recall your own experiences. A move, a renovation, a temporary relocation. The feeling of carefully packing, of labeling boxes, of entrusting your belongings to a secure external space. Or perhaps you've simply driven past one of these facilities, a silent sentinel on the edge of a town, and wondered about the stories held within its walls. Tonight, we invite you to explore those stories, not with urgency, but with a gentle curiosity. We will touch upon the various types of self-storage, from the climate-controlled sanctuaries for delicate heirlooms to the expansive outdoor units for boats and RVs. We will consider the quiet innovation that has shaped this industry, from early manual systems to modern automated access and sophisticated security measures. And as we journey, remember, there is no rush. The world outside can wait. Here, in this tranquil space, time stretches and softens. The only expectation is that you find peace. Before we truly begin our deeper exploration, I invite, if you feel so inclined, and only if it brings you a sense of calm connection, perhaps leave a gentle comment below. Tell us where in the world you are listening from. Is it late evening, with the stars beginning to pepper the sky? Is it the quiet hush of early morning, before the world fully awakens? Or perhaps the gentle lull of an afternoon, a moment of respite in the middle of your day? Knowing that we are connected across time zones and geographies, united by this shared moment of quiet contemplation, can be a comforting thought. A gentle reminder of our quiet, global community. So breathe deeply. Let your shoulders relax. Let your mind become a calm, still lake, reflecting the gentle moonlight. The journey into the quiet world of self-storage is about to begin. And remember, if sleep finds you along the way, that is precisely as it should be. Tonight, we shall explore a facet of human endeavor so fundamental, yet so often overlooked, that it whispers its secrets only to those who listen with patience. We speak of the gentle art of preservation, the deep-seated human need to safeguard what is precious, to hold on to the tangible echoes of our lives. We speak, in essence, of storage. Imagine, if you will, the dawn of civilization. Not the bustling marketplaces or the grand monuments, but the quieter moments, the intimate rhythms of daily life. Picture a small, nomadic family, their lives dictated by the seasons, by the migration of game, by the ripening of wild grains. Their possessions were few, each one imbued with purpose and meaning. A finely crafted stone tool, a woven basket, a cured animal hide. These were not mere objects. They were extensions of their survival, their identity. When the rains came, or the harsh winter winds began to bite, where did these precious items go? Not simply left to the elements. Even in these earliest, most transient societies, there was an innate understanding of protection. Perhaps a hollowed-out log, carefully sealed with mud and leaves, became a rudimentary chest. Or a natural cave, its cool, dry air offering sanctuary to dried berries and medicinal herbs. These were the very first whispers of communal storage, born not of commerce, but of necessity and the quiet wisdom of survival. As humanity began to settle, to cultivate the land and build more permanent dwellings, the concept of storage evolved. The Fertile Crescent, the cradle of so many innovations, also saw the birth of more sophisticated methods of preservation. Think of the early agricultural communities along the banks of the Tigris and Euphrates. Their lives revolved around the harvest, the golden bounty of wheat and barley that sustained them through the lean months. A successful harvest was a blessing, but also a challenge. Where to keep such vast quantities of grain? Left exposed, it would spoil, be devoured by pests, or washed away by floods. And so, the granary emerged. Not a simple shed, but often a meticulously constructed building, sometimes elevated on stilts to deter rodents, with thick walls to regulate temperature and humidity. Imagine the quiet, rhythmic work of pouring the newly threshed grain into these communal stores, the air thick with the scent of dry earth and sun-baked cereal, the soft rustle of kernels cascading into the depths. These granaries were more than just buildings. They were the heartbeats of the community. They represented security, a collective breath held against the uncertainty of the future. The responsibility for their upkeep, for the fair distribution of their contents, would have been a sacred trust. Elders, priests, or designated officials would have overseen these vital resources, their decisions impacting the very survival of their people. The quiet hum of activity around these structures, the careful monitoring, the shared sense of purpose, it was a profound testament to the human spirit of cooperation and foresight. Moving westward, across the sands of time to ancient Egypt, we find another fascinating chapter in the story of storage. Here, the concept took on a monumental scale, reflecting the grandeur and meticulous planning of their civilization. While the pyramids stand as eternal tombs, the Egyptians also built vast storehouses for their earthly needs. Consider the immense royal granaries, often depicted in hieroglyphs, where the pharaoh's wealth in grain was meticulously catalogued and protected. These were not just for consumption. They were strategic reserves, used to feed the armies, to pay the laborers who built their colossal structures, and to provide relief during times of famine. The sheer scale of these operations, the intricate accounting systems, the legions of scribes and overseers dedicated to their management, speaks volumes about the value placed on organized storage. Beyond grain, the Egyptians also stored their most precious personal possessions for the afterlife. The elaborate tombs, while primarily burial chambers, were also the ultimate self-storage units. Imagine the meticulous care taken to preserve furniture, jewelry, clothing, and even food offerings, all intended to accompany the deceased into eternity. The dry desert air, a natural preservative, aided in this endeavor, creating a silent, timeless repository of human belongings. The quiet reverence with which these items were placed, the belief that they would serve a purpose beyond the veil. It adds a layer of profound significance to the act of storage itself. It wasn't just about keeping things safe, it was about ensuring continuity, even in the face of death. As empires rose and fell, the need for organized storage persisted, adapting to new challenges and opportunities. Wine, bundles of cloth, weapons, and tools, all carefully preserved against siege, famine, or the ravages of time. The castle's survival, and indeed the survival of its inhabitants, depended on the efficacy of these storage practices. Imagine the quiet, damp coolness of a castle cellar, the flickering light of a torch casting long shadows on stacked barrels and hanging provisions, the subtle sense of earth, fermentation, and preservation, the rhythmic drip of water, a constant soothing reminder of the passage of time. The careful inventory kept by the castle steward, a silent guardian of the Lord's wealth and the people's sustenance. These were places of profound quiet, where the future of a community was literally held in trust. Monasteries, too, played a crucial role in communal storage during the medieval era. These centers of learning and devotion were often self-sufficient, with extensive agricultural holdings. Their storerooms would have held not only food and drink, but also precious manuscripts, tools for crafts, and medicinal herbs. The monastic ideal of careful stewardship, of making the most of God's bounty, extended naturally to meticulous storage practices. The quiet, contemplative atmosphere of a monastery would have permeated their storerooms, where every item was treated with respect and purpose. The evolution of storage through these ancient and medieval times reveals a consistent thread, the fundamental human need to preserve, to protect, to plan for the future. Whether it was a nomadic family's hollowed log, an Egyptian pharaoh's monumental granary, a Roman horium, or a medieval castle's cellar, the underlying impulse remained the same. It was a quiet act of defiance against entropy, a gentle assertion of control over an unpredictable world. These were not yet the self-storage facilities we recognize today, with their individual units and digital access. but they were the foundational stones, the ancient roots from which our modern need for secure, accessible storage would eventually grow. They speak to a timeless human desire to hold on to what matters, to create a sanctuary for our possessions, and in doing so, to create a sense of order and peace in our lives. As we gently drift from these ancient landscapes, let us carry with us the quiet understanding that the impulse to store is deeply woven into the fabric of human history, a testament to our enduring ingenuity and our quiet longing for security. We continue our quiet journey into the world of self-storage, a landscape of hidden treasures and forgotten necessities. In our last segment, we touched upon the ancient echoes of storage, the fundamental human need to safeguard what we deem valuable. Now, we turn our gaze to a specific moment in time, a pivotal decade that saw the quiet birth of the modern self-storage industry as we know it today. We travel back to the 1960s, a decade of profound transformation, a time when the seeds of this unassuming giant were sown, primarily in the sun-drenched plains of Texas. Narrator. Imagine, if you will, the America of the 1960s. It was a nation in motion, a society undergoing a remarkable metamorphosis. The post-war boom had given way to an era of unprecedented prosperity, a burgeoning middle class, and a profound shift in how people lived, worked, and accumulated. This wasn't a sudden explosion, but rather a gentle, persistent current, reshaping the very fabric of daily life. One of the most significant currents was the phenomenon of suburbanization. After decades of urban density, families were increasingly drawn to the allure of the suburbs, spacious homes, manicured lawns, and a perceived sense of tranquility away from the bustling city centers. This migration wasn't merely a change of address, it was a fundamental reorientation of lifestyle. Homes in the suburbs, while often larger than their urban counterparts, still had their limits. And with more space came the natural inclination to fill it. Narrator. This brings us to another powerful force at play: consumerism. The 1960s witnessed an explosion of consumer goods. From televisions to refrigerators, washing machines to an ever-expanding array of furniture and decorative items, the American home was becoming a repository of possessions. Advertising, increasingly sophisticated and pervasive, whispered promises of comfort, convenience, and status through the acquisition of these new wonders. People were buying more, accumulating more, and consequently needing more space to store it all. Think of a young family in the suburbs of Houston, perhaps, in the mid-1960s. They've just moved into their new ranch-style home. They have a growing collection of furniture, a burgeoning assortment of children's toys, perhaps a boat for weekend excursions, or a classic car they're slowly restoring. Their garage, once a simple parking space, is now overflowing. The attic is crammed. The spare bedroom, intended for guests, has become a de facto storage unit. The desire for a tidy, uncluttered home clashed with the reality of their expanding possessions. Narrator. It was in this fertile ground of societal change that the seeds of self-storage began to sprout. The idea, in its nascent form, was remarkably simple. Provide individuals with a secure, accessible space to store their belongings outside of their homes. This wasn't a grand, revolutionary concept announced with fanfare. Instead, it was a quiet, almost organic response to an emerging need. While various forms of commercial storage had existed for centuries, often tied to moving companies or specialized warehouses for businesses, the concept of self-service storage for the general public was novel. It was about empowering individuals to manage their own possessions, to access them at their convenience, without the intermediaries of traditional storage facilities. And so, we arrive in Texas, a state known for its vastness, its entrepreneurial spirit, and its willingness to embrace new ideas. While the exact first self-storage facility is a subject of gentle debate among historians, Many point to the pioneering efforts in the Lone Star State. Narrator. One of the earliest and most influential pioneers was a gentleman named Russ Williams, who, along with his partners, opened A. Verde Storage in Odessa, Texas, in 1964. The name itself, A. Verde, was chosen strategically to appear at the top of alphabetical directories, a clever marketing tactic in an era before widespread internet searches. Imagine the scene: a simple, unassuming structure, perhaps a series of connected garage-like units, each with its own roll-up door, nestled on the outskirts of town. There were no elaborate security systems, no climate control, no digital access codes. It was a straightforward proposition, a lockable space, available for rent. The initial customers were often those undergoing life transitions, military personnel being deployed, families relocating, small businesses needing extra inventory space, or individuals simply needing to declutter their homes. The concept resonated. It offered a practical, affordable solution to a growing problem. Narrator. This wasn't a glamorous industry. There were no grand pronouncements or splashy headlines. The growth of self-storage was a quiet revolution, unfolding unit by unit, facility by facility. It was driven by necessity, by the everyday realities of people's lives. Consider the psychology behind this quiet revolution. Prior to self-storage, if you needed extra space, your options were limited: sell, discard, or cram. Each of these choices carried an emotional weight. Selling an item, even if no longer needed, could feel like a loss. Discarding something might evoke guilt or regret. And cramming, well, that simply shifted the problem from one visible space to a less visible, but equally cluttered one. Self-storage offered a gentle alternative: preservation without immediate commitment. It allowed individuals to hold on to items that held sentimental value, even if they didn't have an immediate use for them. It provided a buffer during periods of transition, a temporary haven for belongings while life sorted itself out. Narrator. The design of these early facilities was pragmatic: simple, durable materials, easy access, a focus on functionality over aesthetics. They were often located on inexpensive land, often on the periphery of growing communities, accessible by car. The business model was equally straightforward: collect rent, maintain the property, and provide a secure environment. The success of these early ventures in Texas quickly caught the attention of others. Entrepreneurs, observing the steady demand and the relatively low overhead, began to replicate the model. The idea spread, first within Texas, then to neighboring states, and eventually across the nation. It wasn't just suburbanization and consumerism that fueled this growth. Other societal shifts played a role. Increased mobility, with people moving more frequently for work or lifestyle changes, created a constant need for temporary storage solutions. The rise of divorce rates meant household splitting and belongings needing a place to reside during the transition. Even the growing popularity of hobbies, from collecting antiques to woodworking, created a demand for dedicated storage space. Narrator. The quiet genius of self-storage lay in its adaptability. It didn't dictate what people should store. It simply provided the space. From old photo albums to antique furniture, from seasonal decorations to business inventory, the contents of these units were as diverse and varied as the lives of the people who rented them. Each unit became a miniature world, a silent testament to individual histories and aspirations. The 1960s, then, was not just a decade of cultural upheaval and social change. It was also the decade when a quiet, unassuming industry began its steady ascent. It was a testament to the power of simple solutions to complex problems, a gentle innovation born from the evolving needs of a modern society. As we conclude this segment, we leave you with the image of those early self-storage facilities in Texas, humble, functional, yet profoundly impactful. They were more than just buildings. They were the quiet enablers of a new way of living, a silent partner in the unfolding story of American life. We've journeyed through its humble beginnings, understood its deep-seated roots in our human need for space and transition. Now, let us turn our attention to the very structures that house these silent repositories of our lives. Let us delve into the architecture of silence. Imagine, if you will, standing before one of these facilities. Often they rise from the landscape with a distinct, almost monolithic presence. Their exteriors, while varying in material and finish, share a common thread, a sense of purposeful enclosure. Some are clad in corrugated metal, painted in muted tones of beige, gray, or a soft, earthy green, designed to blend, or at least not to aggressively intrude, upon their surroundings. Others, particularly in more urban or affluent areas, might feature brick facades, perhaps even a touch of decorative stonework, attempting to soften their industrial core with a veneer of residential familiarity. But regardless of the outer skin, the underlying message is one of containment, of a carefully constructed shell designed to protect what lies within. There are few windows, if any, on the main storage blocks. This absence is deliberate, a practical choice born of security and climate control, but it also contributes to the building's enigmatic quality. It offers no glimpse into the lives stored within, no hint of the stories held captive behind those anonymous walls. This lack of transparency fosters a sense of privacy, a quiet assurance that whatever you entrust to its care will remain unseen, undisturbed. As you approach the entrance, you might notice the security features, integrated with a quiet efficiency. A sturdy gate, often operated by a keypad, stands as the first guardian. Its slow, deliberate swing, perhaps accompanied by a soft mechanical whir, marks the transition from the bustling outside world to the hushed interior. Surveillance cameras, discreetly positioned, observe with unblinking eyes, their presence a silent promise of vigilance rather than an overt threat. Lighting, often motion-activated, illuminates pathways with a gentle glow, casting long, soft shadows that dance with the evening breeze. Once inside the perimeter, the true character of these spaces begins to unfold. The air often carries a faint, almost sterile scent, a blend of concrete, perhaps a hint of disinfectant, and the subtle, indescribable aroma of things long undisturbed. It's a clean smell, devoid of the usual organic perfumes of everyday life. The main corridors are perhaps the most iconic feature of the self-storage facility. They stretch out before you, long and straight, often seemingly endless, like the nave of a silent industrial cathedral. The floors are typically concrete, polished or sealed, reflecting the overhead fluorescent lights in a soft, diffused glow. The walls, usually painted in a light, neutral color, off-white, pale gray, or a very light blue, further amplify the sense of space and order. These colors are chosen not for their aesthetic flair, but for their ability to create a clean, unobtrusive backdrop, allowing the focus to remain on the individual units themselves. The lighting in these corridors is crucial to their atmosphere. Fluorescent tubes, often recessed, cast an even, shadowless light. It's a practical illumination, designed for visibility and safety, but it also contributes to the feeling of timelessness. There are no dramatic spotlights, no warm, inviting lamps. Just a steady, consistent glow that banishes deep shadows and creates an environment where every corner is visible, every detail clear, yet somehow still devoid of warmth. This even light prevents any sense of mystery or hidden corners, promoting a feeling of safety and transparency within the enclosed space. And then, there are the doors. Rows upon rows of them, stretching into the distance. Each one a uniform rectangle, typically made of corrugated steel, painted to match the walls or in a slightly contrasting yet still muted shade. These are the roll-up doors, a distinctive element of self-storage architecture. Their design is purely functional, robust, secure, and space-efficient. When opened, they coil upwards, disappearing into a housing above the doorway, revealing the private world within. When closed, they present an impenetrable anonymous facade. Each door is equipped with a sturdy latch, designed to accommodate a padlock, the final, personal layer of security. The act of securing that padlock, of hearing the satisfying click as it locks into place, is a small ritual of entrustment. It's a moment where you physically sever your immediate connection to your belongings, placing them in the care of this silent sentinel. The uniformity of these doors is striking. There are no ornate handles, no personalized knockers, no windows to peer through. Each one is identical to the next, emphasizing the democratic nature of self-storage. Within these walls, a priceless family heirloom might reside next to a collection of forgotten holiday decorations, or a startup's initial inventory beside a retired couple's lifetime of memories. The doors offer no clue, no judgment, only a promise of equal protection. The acoustics of these corridors are equally compelling. They are designed to be quiet. The concrete and steel surfaces absorb little sound, leading to a subtle echo. Footsteps tend to resonate, each step a distinct punctuation mark in the prevailing silence. The occasional rattle of a trolley, the distant clatter of a roll-up door being opened or closed, these sounds travel far, amplified by the stillness. It's a soundscape of subtle whispers and distant echoes, where every noise feels deliberate, almost magnified. This quietness is not merely an absence of sound, it is an active presence. It encourages a sense of introspection, a focus on the task at hand. When you are in a self-storage corridor, the usual cacophony of the outside world recedes. Your thoughts, your memories, your intentions become clearer, more defined. It's a space that invites a certain reverence for the objects it contains and for the stories they represent. The psychological impact of this architecture of silence is profound. It fosters a sense of order. The straight lines, the uniform doors, the consistent lighting, all contribute to an environment of meticulous organization. In a world often characterized by chaos and clutter, these spaces offer a sanctuary of neatness, a place where things are carefully compartmentalized and stored away. This order, in turn, can evoke a sense of calm. There is a quiet reassurance in knowing that your possessions are tucked away, safe from the elements, safe from intrusion, and perhaps safe from the emotional weight they might carry in your daily life. It's a temporary pause, a holding pattern for objects that are not currently needed, but are too valuable, too sentimental, or too important to discard. The very act of entering a self-storage facility can feel like stepping into a different dimension. The transition from the vibrant, often noisy world outside to the hushed, orderly interior marks a psychological shift. You are no longer in the realm of immediate use and constant interaction. You are in a space of suspended animation where belongings await their next chapter. This separation is key. The physical distance between you and your stored items, facilitated by these architectural choices, creates an emotional distance as well. It allows for a period of detachment, a chance to reevaluate, to plan, to simply be, without the constant presence of these objects. It's a space designed for holding, not for living. Consider the ramps and elevators, often necessary in multi-story facilities. These too are designed for efficiency and durability. Wide, gently sloping ramps or large, robust elevators, often with reinforced interiors, are built to accommodate the movement of heavy, bulky items. Their mechanical hum, the slow ascent or descent, further emphasizes the deliberate, unhurried nature of activity within these walls. There is no rush, no urgency, only the steady, methodical transfer of possessions. Even the climate control systems, often operating with a low, consistent hum, contribute to this architecture of silence. They maintain a stable temperature and humidity, protecting delicate items from the ravages of time and environment. This unseen, unheard work is a testament to the meticulous care these facilities offer, a silent guardian against decay. So, the next time you encounter a self-storage facility, take a moment to truly see it. Observe its lines, its muted colors. We've spoken of its origins, its quiet growth, and its unassuming presence in our urban and suburban tapestries. Now, we turn our gaze inward to the very heart of its purpose, the human stories that unfold within its steel walls. Narrator. For beneath the corrugated iron and the watchful eyes of security cameras, self-storage facilities hold more than just belongings. They hold echoes of life's most profound transitions. They are silent witnesses to the shifting sands of human experience, offering a quiet harbor when the currents of life become too strong, too swift, or too unpredictable. Narrator. In the lexicon of the self-storage industry, a quartet of powerful forces is often cited as the primary drivers of demand. They are known, with a certain stark simplicity, as the 4Ds: death, divorce, downsizing, and dislocation. Each represents a significant life event, a moment of profound change that often necessitates a temporary, or sometimes more permanent, sanctuary for our possessions. Narrator. Let us begin with the first and perhaps the most poignant of these drivers. Death. Narrator. The passing of a loved one is a universal experience, a profound rupture in the fabric of our lives. In the immediate aftermath, a wave of grief often washes over us, making even the simplest decisions feel monumental. Yet, amidst the sorrow, practicalities inevitably emerge. The home of the deceased, once a vibrant center of life, now stands as a repository of memories, of cherished objects, of an entire existence. Narrator. For families, the task of sorting through these belongings can be overwhelming. Each item holds a story, a whisper of the past, making the act of discarding or donating feel like a betrayal. There are heirlooms to be distributed, sentimental items to be preserved, and practical household goods that may not immediately find a new home. Narrator. This is where self-storage steps in, a silent, unassuming helper in a time of immense emotional strain. It offers a pause, a temporary reprieve from the difficult decisions. A family can carefully pack boxes, labeling them with care, and then entrust them to the secure embrace of a storage unit. It provides the precious gift of time. Time to grieve, time to heal, and time to make thoughtful choices about what to keep, what to share, and what to let go of. Narrator. Imagine a daughter sifting through her mother's cherished possessions, the antique china, the collection of porcelain figurines, the overflowing bookshelves, each item a tangible link to a life well lived. She may not have space in her own home for everything, nor the emotional capacity to make immediate, permanent decisions. The storage unit becomes a gentle holding space, a place where these precious fragments of a life can rest undisturbed until she is ready to revisit them, to integrate them into her own life, or to pass them on to the next generation. It's not merely about storing things, it's about storing memories, preserving legacies, and honoring the passage of time. Narrator. Next, we encounter divorce, a word that often carries with it a sharp edge, a sense of unraveling. While death signifies an end, divorce marks a profound reordering, a painful disentanglement of two lives that were once intricately woven together. Narrator. The dissolution of a marriage often necessitates the division of shared assets, particularly household goods. A home, once a sanctuary for two, must now be separated, its contents apportioned. This process can be fraught with emotion, with lingering resentments, and with the practical challenges of finding new living arrangements. Narrator. In the midst of this upheaval, self-storage offers a neutral ground. When one partner needs to move out quickly, or when both are seeking new, smaller residences, the storage unit becomes an invaluable buffer. It provides a safe, secure space for furniture, appliances, and personal effects that may not immediately fit into new, often temporary living situations. Narrator. Consider a woman suddenly faced with the need to find a new home for herself and her children. Her new apartment may be smaller, or she may be staying with family temporarily. She cannot bring everything from her former life. The storage unit becomes a quiet refuge for her belongings, a place where they can await a more stable future. It allows her to focus on rebuilding her life, knowing that her cherished possessions are safe and accessible when the time is right. It's a space for holding on while simultaneously moving forward. It's about creating order out of chaos, providing a sense of control in a situation that often feels overwhelmingly out of control. Narrator. Our third D is downsizing. This driver often emerges from a place of deliberate choice, a conscious decision to simplify, to streamline, to embrace a smaller footprint. Narrator. For many, particularly as they approach retirement or their children leave the nest, the large family home can begin to feel too large. The maintenance becomes a burden. The unused rooms echo with quiet emptiness. The desire for a simpler life, a smaller home, or a move to a more manageable community often leads to the need to shed possessions. But parting with a lifetime of accumulated treasures is not always easy. There are sentimental items that hold deep meaning, furniture pieces that have served generations, and collections that represent years of passion. Not everything can, or should, be discarded. Narrator. Self-storage offers a practical solution for this gentle shedding. It allows individuals to keep those items that are important, but not immediately needed in their new, smaller space. The antique dining table that will one day be passed down to a grandchild. The extensive holiday decoration collection that only comes out once a year. The beloved hobby equipment that doesn't fit in the new garage. Narrator. Imagine a retired couple moving from a sprawling suburban house to a cozy condominium by the sea. They want to embrace a lighter, more carefree lifestyle, but they don't want to completely erase the memories of their past. The self-storage unit becomes their extended attic, their off-site garage, a place where cherished items can reside peacefully, awaiting their next season of use, or their eventual transition to the next generation. It's about curating a life, making intentional choices, and finding harmony between what we have and so, we arrive at the quiet heart of the modern self-storage facility. The intricate, yet often unseen dance of logistics and technology. It is here, in the silent hum of machinery and the silent vigilance of digital systems, that the true operational elegance of this industry reveals itself. A world designed for seamless, secure, and utterly unobtrusive service, allowing our treasured possessions to rest undisturbed. Imagine, if you will, the facility not just as a collection of rooms, but as a carefully orchestrated ecosystem. Every door, every corridor, every cubic foot of space is part of a larger, intelligent network. This is not the dusty, dimly lit warehouse of yesteryear, but a sophisticated environment meticulously managed by a symphony of sensors, circuits, and software. Let us begin with the very air itself. Climate control. It is a phrase that might evoke images of a simple thermostat, but in the realm of self-storage, it is a nuanced and vital discipline. For many items, delicate fabrics, antique furniture, sensitive electronics, cherished photographs, the relentless march of humidity and temperature fluctuations can be a silent, destructive force. Within these climate-controlled units, the air is not merely cooled or heated, it is conditioned. Large, industrial-grade HVAC systems, often tucked away in discrete mechanical rooms, work tirelessly, their gentle hum a constant lullaby to the stored items. They meticulously regulate both temperature and relative humidity, maintaining a stable environment that resists the insidious creep of mold, mildew, and warping. Think of it as a perpetual, gentle spring day held in suspended animation within these walls. The air is often filtered, removing dust and airborne particulates that could otherwise settle upon and degrade stored goods. This isn't just about comfort, it's about preservation. Sensors, strategically placed throughout the facility, constantly monitor these atmospheric conditions, feeding data back to a central control system. Should there be even a subtle deviation from the optimal range, the system can adjust, often without human intervention, a silent guardian against the elements. Beyond the breadth of the facility lies its watchful eye: security systems. This is perhaps the most critical technological layer, woven into the very fabric of the building. Modern self-storage is a fortress, not of stone, but of intelligent surveillance and access management. Gone are the days of a simple padlock and a hope. Today, security begins at the perimeter. High-definition cameras, often equipped with night vision and motion detection, silently observe every approach, every entry point. These are not merely recording devices. They are intelligent sentinels, capable of distinguishing between a rustling leaf and an unauthorized presence. Their feeds are often monitored remotely, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, by dedicated security teams, ensuring a constant, vigilant gaze. But the true ingenuity lies in the access management systems. Entry to the facility itself is typically controlled by personalized digital keypads or fob readers. Each tenant is assigned a unique code, a digital key that grants them passage only during designated access hours. This isn't just a barrier, it's an intelligent gatekeeper. Every entry, every exit is logged, creating a precise digital footprint. Should an anomaly occur, the system has a record, a memory of who was where and when. Within the facility, security continues its quiet work. Individual unit doors are robust, often reinforced, and designed to deter forced entry. Many facilities employ individual door alarms, a silent sentinel that activates if a unit is opened without proper authorization. Imagine the gentle hum of the system, always listening, always aware. If a door is tampered with, a silent alert is dispatched, often directly to security personnel, long before any significant breach can occur. The integration of these systems is where the true efficiency lies. Access control, surveillance, and individual unit alarms are not disparate components. They are interconnected. A tenant's unique access code might not only open the main gate, but also disarm their specific unit alarm, all in one seamless, automated sequence. This eliminates the need for multiple keys or complex procedures, streamlining the user experience while maintaining an ironclad layer of protection. Think of the underlying software, the digital brain that orchestrates all of this. It manages tenant accounts, tracks payments, assigns unit numbers, and, crucially, controls access permissions. When a tenant moves out, their access code is instantly deactivated and their unit alarm rearmed, all with a few clicks of a mouse, ensuring a swift and secure transition. This digital backbone is the silent administrator, the unseen hand that keeps the entire operation running smoothly. Beyond security and climate, technology weaves its way into the very fabric of operational efficiency. Consider the lighting systems. Modern facilities often utilize energy-efficient LED lighting, which not only reduces operational costs, but also provides bright, clear illumination without harshness. These lights are frequently motion-activated, gently illuminating a path as a tenant approaches, then softly dimming once they have passed, a thoughtful nod to both energy conservation and a calming atmosphere. Maintenance, too, benefits from technological advancements. Sensors can monitor the performance of HVAC systems, identifying potential issues before they escalate into costly repairs. Digital inventory systems can track available units, streamlining the rental process for both staff and prospective tenants. Even the humble elevator in a multi-story facility is often a smart elevator, programmed for efficiency, minimizing wait times, and maximizing smooth vertical transport. The rise of online platforms has further revolutionized the industry. Prospective tenants can now browse available units, view virtual tours, compare prices, and even complete the entire rental process, from signing the lease to obtaining their access code, all from the comfort of their home at any hour of the day or night. This digital convenience removes friction, making the process of securing storage as effortless as possible. In essence, the modern self-storage facility is a testament to the power of discrete technology. It is a place where complex systems work in harmony, often unnoticed, to provide a service that is both essential and incredibly efficient. The hum of the climate control, the silent gaze of the cameras, the intelligent gatekeepers at every entry point. These are the quiet guardians of our possessions. They operate with a smooth, almost invisible grace, ensuring that our stored items are protected, preserved, and always accessible when we need them. It is a world of silent vigilance, of automated precision, where the logistics are so finely tuned that they become an almost imperceptible part of the experience. And in this quiet efficiency, we find a profound sense of calm. The peace of knowing that our belongings, whether cherished heirlooms or practical necessities, are resting securely, cared for by a network of unseen hands and tireless digital minds. This is the quiet promise of modern self-storage, a sanctuary of security and convenience, built upon the elegant foundations of logistics and technology. As we drift further into the quiet corners of the self-storage universe, we arrive at a pivotal moment in its journey, a transformation from a humble, often overlooked service into a sophisticated and highly valued asset class. This evolution, a quiet revolution in its own right, was largely orchestrated by the emergence and growing influence of real estate investment trusts, or REITs. For many years, self-storage facilities were primarily the domain of individual entrepreneurs, local families, or small regional developers. They were often built on the fringes of towns, simple structures of corrugated metal and concrete, serving a very specific localized need. The financial world, with its grand pronouncements and complex algorithms, rarely cast a discerning eye upon these unassuming buildings. They were, in essence, the quiet workhorses of the real estate landscape, performing their duties without much fanfare or financial speculation. However, as the latter half of the 20th century unfurled, a subtle but profound shift began to occur. The self-storage industry, with its steady, predictable cash flows and surprisingly resilient demand, started to attract the attention of larger institutional investors. These investors, always in search of stable returns and diversified portfolios, began to see beyond the utilitarian facades, recognizing the underlying economic principles that made these properties uniquely attractive. The concept of a real estate investment trust, or REIT, had been around for some time, designed to allow individual investors to own shares in large-scale, income-producing real estate. Think of it as a mutual fund for real estate. By investing in an REIT, one could own a fractional share of a portfolio of properties, be it office buildings, shopping malls, or apartment complexes, without the complexities and capital requirements of direct ownership. Initially, self-storage was not a primary focus for these large investment vehicles. They gravitated towards the more traditional, seemingly prestigious sectors of commercial real estate. But as the market matured and the inherent stability of self-storage became undeniable, the REITs began to take notice. They saw a sector ripe for consolidation, professionalization, and the application of sophisticated management techniques. The transition began subtly. Smaller, regional operators found themselves approached by larger entities, offering capital and expertise. The fragmented landscape of self-storage, with its myriad of independent owners, presented a unique opportunity for aggregation. By acquiring multiple facilities, REITs could achieve economies of scale, implement standardized operating procedures, and leverage technology to optimize pricing and occupancy. This was not merely about buying up properties, it was about transforming an industry. REITs brought a level of financial scrutiny and operational efficiency that had been largely absent. They introduced sophisticated data analytics to understand demand patterns, optimize unit mix, and set dynamic pricing strategies. The simple shed on the edge of town began to evolve into a technologically advanced, professionally managed asset. One of the most compelling arguments for self-storage, and a key factor in its embrace by REITs, lies in its often cited recession-proof nature. This term, while perhaps a slight oversimplification, points to a remarkable resilience that sets it apart from many other real estate sectors. Consider the economic principles at play. During periods of economic prosperity, people accumulate. They buy new homes, new cars, new furniture, and often their existing spaces become insufficient. They need a place to store the overflow, the cherished possessions that don't quite fit into their expanding lives. Self-storage provides that convenient, flexible solution. It's a temporary annex to their homes, a quiet repository for their material world. Conversely, during times of economic downturn, when the currents of prosperity ebb, self-storage often finds itself equally, if not more, in demand. People downsize their homes, moving into smaller apartments or relocating for new job opportunities. Businesses contract, needing to store excess inventory or equipment. Life transitions, divorces, inheritances, college moves, continue regardless of the economic climate, and these transitions frequently necessitate temporary storage solutions. This dual demand dynamic creates a unique stability. Whether the economy is booming or contracting, people's lives are in flux, and flux often generates a need for space. Unlike retail properties, which suffer when consumer spending declines, or office buildings, which empty during corporate downsizing, self-storage often sees consistent, if not increased, demand during these periods of change. Furthermore, the operating costs for self-storage facilities are relatively low compared to other property types. There are no complex tenant build-outs, no elaborate common areas to maintain, and typically fewer staff required per square foot. This lean operational model contributes to healthier profit margins and a more predictable income stream, even during challenging economic times. Another attractive feature for REITs is the short-term lease structure. Most self-storage leases are month-to-month. This flexibility, while beneficial for tenants, also provides operators with the ability to adjust rental rates relatively quickly in response to market conditions. In a rising market, rates can be increased, capturing greater revenue. In a declining market, rates can be adjusted to maintain occupancy, preventing prolonged vacancies that plague other real estate sectors. This agility is a powerful economic lever. The capital expenditure requirements for self-storage are also generally lower than for other property types. While initial construction can be significant, ongoing maintenance and renovation costs are often less intensive than for a luxury apartment complex or a sprawling shopping mall. This means more of the revenue generated can flow directly to investors, enhancing the attractiveness of the asset. The REIT structure itself offers significant advantages for self-storage. By pooling capital from numerous investors, REITs can acquire and develop properties on a much larger scale than individual owners. This allows them to diversify their portfolios across different geographic regions and property types, mitigating risk. They also benefit from professional management teams with expertise in real estate acquisition, development, and operations. For investors, REITs provide liquidity. Shares in publicly traded REITs can be bought and sold on stock exchanges, offering a level of flexibility not typically found in direct real estate ownership. This accessibility opened the self-storage market to a wider range of investors, further fueling its growth and institutionalization. The major players in the self-storage REIT space, names like Public Storage, Extra Space Storage, CubeSmart, and U-Haul, have become titans of the industry. They have not only consolidated a fragmented market, but have also driven innovation in facility design, security, and customer service. They've transformed the perception of self-storage from a dusty, forgotten corner into a modern, efficient, and essential service. This quiet revolution, spearheaded by the Reds, fundamentally altered the trajectory of self-storage. It elevated it from a niche service to a recognized, robust asset class, capable of weathering economic storms and consistently delivering value. It's a testament to the power of understanding underlying demand, operational efficiency, and the strategic application of financial structures. As we conclude this segment, we are left with a deeper appreciation for how the seemingly simple act of storing possessions can become a sophisticated engine of economic activity. The quiet hum of a self-storage facility, once an unnoticed backdrop, now resonates with the steady rhythm of investment, stability, and enduring demand. It is a testament to the enduring human need for space and the ingenious ways in which, as the sun dips below the horizon, painting the urban canvas in hues of violet and gold, a different kind of structure begins to truly reveal its purpose. Not the towering office blocks, nor the bustling apartment complexes, but the quiet, often unassuming buildings that dot the city's periphery, or sometimes even its very heart. These are the modern cathedrals of personal possessions, the multi-story self-storage facilities, born from the very pressures of urban living. In the early days of self-storage, as we've gently explored, the landscape was often vast and open. Single-story structures, sprawling across acres of accessible land, were the norm. They were built where space was abundant, where the cost of land allowed for a horizontal expansion, mirroring the suburban sprawl that defined much of the mid-20th century. But as our world continued its inexorable drift towards urbanization, as cities swelled and populations concentrated, the very canvas upon which these early facilities were painted began to shrink. The gentle hum of city life, the constant ebb and flow of people, brought with it a new set of challenges and, indeed, a new set of opportunities for the self-storage industry. Land, once plentiful, became a precious commodity. Every square foot, every vertical inch was meticulously considered, its value amplified by the sheer demand for space. This scarcity, this quiet pressure began to reshape the very architecture of self-storage. The solution, born of necessity and ingenuity, was to build upwards, to defy the horizontal limitations and embrace the verticality that defined the modern city. Thus, the multi-story self-storage facility began its quiet ascent. These structures are not merely warehouses stacked upon one another. They are meticulously engineered environments, designed to maximize every cubic foot of available space. They are a testament to human adaptability, a silent acknowledgement of the evolving needs of urban dwellers. Imagine, for a moment, the intricate dance of design and construction that goes into such a building. The robust foundations, capable of supporting not only the structure itself, but also the immense weight of countless personal belongings. The sophisticated elevator systems, wide and strong, designed to transport everything from a single box to an entire apartment's worth of furniture with quiet efficiency. The climate control systems, a subtle whisper of technology, maintaining a steady temperature and humidity, protecting cherished possessions from the city's fluctuating moods. These facilities are often designed with a keen eye towards aesthetics, blending seamlessly, or at least unobtrusively, into the urban fabric. No longer are they solely utilitarian boxes. Many now feature modern facades, thoughtful landscaping, and even integrated retail spaces, becoming a quiet, yet integral, part of the neighborhood. This integration is not just about appearance. It reflects a deeper understanding of their role within the community. For many urban residents, especially those in bustling metropolises where living spaces are often compact, the multi-story self-storage facility becomes an indispensable extension of the home. Consider the young professional living in a small studio apartment, needing space for seasonal clothing, sporting equipment, or perhaps a cherished collection that doesn't quite fit within their immediate living quarters. Or the growing family in a two-bedroom apartment needing to store baby furniture, holiday decorations, or heirlooms passed down through generations. In these dense populations, where every square foot is a premium, the concept of a basement or attic often ceases to exist within the confines of one's own dwelling. The multi-story self-storage unit steps in to fill this void, offering a secure, accessible, and often climate-controlled space that functions as an external closet, a detached garage, or a private archive. It allows individuals and families to maintain a sense of order and spaciousness within their primary living environment without having to part with items that hold sentimental or practical value. The ingenuity extends beyond simply building upwards. In some of the most densely populated and historically rich cities, where even vertical expansion is constrained, the industry has looked downwards. Underground self-storage facilities, burrowed beneath the bustling streets, represent another fascinating adaptation to limited space. These subterranean sanctuaries offer a unique set of advantages, including natural insulation and enhanced security, while quietly utilizing space that would otherwise remain dormant. Imagine the quiet hum of ventilation systems deep beneath the city, the steady temperature maintained by the earth itself, creating an ideal environment for sensitive items. These underground facilities are often masterpieces of engineering, requiring careful planning for access, lighting, and environmental control. They are a testament to the industry's commitment to finding solutions, no matter how challenging the constraints. The very act of accessing these units, whether high in a multi-story building or deep beneath the earth, has also evolved. Modern facilities often employ sophisticated access control systems, from personalized key fobs to biometric scanners, ensuring that only authorized individuals can enter. This quiet layer of security provides peace of mind, allowing individuals to store their belongings with confidence, knowing they are protected. We continue our quiet exploration of the self-storage industry, a world often hidden behind corrugated steel doors and chain-link fences. We've journeyed through its origins, its growth, and its quiet, persistent presence in our modern lives. Now we turn our attention to a facet of this industry that, while less common, often captures the public imagination: the phenomenon of abandoned units and the unique culture that has grown around their auction. Imagine, if you will, a storage unit. For months, perhaps even years, it has held the cherished possessions, the forgotten dreams, or the temporary necessities of an individual or a family. Life, in its unpredictable currents, can sometimes shift dramatically. Circumstances change, financial difficulties arise, or, in some rare instances, a person simply vanishes, leaving behind a locked door and a silent testament to their past. When rent goes unpaid for an extended period, and all attempts to contact the tenant prove fruitless, the contents of that unit, by law, become the property of the storage facility. This is not a decision taken lightly. Storage facility owners, by and large, are not eager to delve into the personal belongings of their former tenants. Their primary business is space rental, not the liquidation of forgotten histories. Extensive efforts are made to reach out, to remind, to offer solutions. Certified letters are sent, phone calls are made, and grace periods are extended. The legal framework surrounding these situations is robust and designed to protect both the facility owner and the tenant. These laws vary from state to state, from country to country, but their underlying principle is consistent. Due process must be meticulously followed. Only after every legal avenue has been exhausted, after every notification has been sent and every waiting period observed, does the storage facility proceed to the next, often somber, step, the auction. This is not, as some popular media might suggest, a treasure hunt for instant riches. It is a practical necessity, a means for the facility to recoup its losses from unpaid rent and to clear the unit for a new tenant. The atmosphere at these auctions is often a curious blend of anticipation and quiet respect. They are typically held on-site, in the very aisles of the storage facility. Potential bidders gather, often a diverse group: antique dealers, flea market vendors, resellers, and a scattering of curious individuals drawn by the allure of the unknown. The facility manager, or a designated auctioneer, will lead the proceedings. Before the bidding begins, the door to the abandoned unit is typically opened just enough for a brief visual inspection. This is where the unique subculture truly comes alive. Bidders are not allowed to enter the unit, nor are they permitted to touch or sift through the contents. They must make their judgment based on a fleeting glimpse, a quick assessment of what lies within. Imagine standing there, peering into the dim interior. You might see stacks of boxes, their labels faded or missing, a piece of furniture perhaps draped in a dusty sheet, a bicycle, a collection of old tools, or even occasionally something truly unexpected. It's a moment of silent speculation, a brief window into another person's life, now laid bare for public scrutiny. This limited viewing creates an inherent gamble. What appears to be a box of old clothes could, in fact, contain vintage designer items. A seemingly ordinary trunk might hold antique documents, or just as likely, it could be filled with items of little to no monetary value, forgotten ephemera, or simply junk. This element of chance is a significant draw for many who participate. It's a low-stakes lottery, a tangible mystery waiting to be unraveled. The bidding itself is usually swift and to the point. The auctioneer calls out a starting price, and bids rise in small increments. There's a certain etiquette to these events, an unspoken understanding among the regulars. Bids are often made with a nod, a raised hand, or a quiet voice. The tension, if it can be called that, is subtle, a quiet hum beneath the surface. When the final bid is accepted, the unit is sold as is, where is. The buyer then has a limited time, usually 24 to 48 hours, to clear out the entire contents. This is where the ethical considerations become most apparent. While the legal right to sell the unit's contents is clear, the human element remains. What if, among the discarded items, there are photographs, personal letters, or sentimental keepsakes that hold no monetary value but are priceless to their original owner? Most reputable buyers, particularly those who regularly participate in these auctions, understand this. They often make an effort to return highly personal items, like family photos or important documents, if they can identify the original owner. This is not legally required, but it speaks to a quiet sense of decency that often exists within this unique community. The subculture surrounding these auctions is fascinating. It's a world of experienced dealers who can quickly assess potential value, of individuals who enjoy the thrill of the find, and of those who simply appreciate the art of repurposing and reselling. They share stories of their best finds and their biggest disappointments. They discuss strategies for identifying promising units and the best ways to clean, repair, and market their acquisitions. It's a community built around the quiet commerce of forgotten things. There are, of course, stories that capture the imagination. The discovery of rare antiques, valuable collectibles, or even hidden caches of money. These tales, while rare, fuel the mystique of the storage unit auction. They are the whispers that draw new participants, the tantalizing possibilities that lie behind each locked door. But for every grand discovery, there are countless units filled with everyday items, the detritus of ordinary lives. The process of clearing a unit after an auction is a task that requires both efficiency and a degree of sensitivity. Buyers often bring their own trucks and tools. They sort through the contents, separating items for resale from those that will be donated or discarded. It's a physical process, often dusty and laborious, but it's also a process of discovery. Each box opened, Each item uncovered tells a small part of a larger, untold story. The self-storage industry, in its quiet efficiency, provides a vital service. But when that service is no longer utilized, when the rent goes unpaid and the connection is lost, the auction process steps in. It's a necessary mechanism within the economic ecosystem of storage, a way to reallocate space and recoup costs. Yet, it also serves as a poignant reminder of life's transience, of the ebb and flow of personal possessions, and the quiet stories that can be found in the most unexpected places. As we conclude this segment, we are left with a deeper appreciation for the complex layers of the self-storage industry. From the simple act of renting a space to the intricate dance of an auction, each aspect reflects a unique facet of our economic and social landscape. Join us next time as we continue our gentle exploration, delving into another quiet corner of the world of business. Until then, may your thoughts be calm and your rest be deep. As the world outside begins to settle into its nightly rhythm and the quiet hours descend, I hope this gentle exploration has offered you a moment of calm, a space for quiet contemplation. May your thoughts drift peacefully, unburdened by the day's demands. May your night be filled with tranquility and your dreams be soft and serene. Until our next quiet journey together, may you find peace in the stillness.